you fathers that are out there, I got to thinking back earlier in, excuse me, like I say, that egg just tore me up, eggshell. I got to thinking back earlier, and we was talking the other day, and it was hard to believe that my dad actually has been gone now for 15 years. And that just blew me away. For 15 years, how long, how many Father's Days, I guess, I've not been able to share with my father. But it's still, nothing can replace the times that I had with him before he was called away. And all those memories and all that great time that I had growing up, man, it'll just make me sit there and smile sometimes. I can just think of all the things that we used to do. I can remember, the simple things, like the great things that you don't even think about. Driving down the road, We'd be in an old truck, or it could have been, now it's an old truck, it might not have been old at the time. We'd be in a truck driving down the road, especially if it was winter, to be in the front. Used to when we was kids growing up, you could ride in the back of the truck. It was okay then, but be in the front of that truck and sitting there, and that radio would always be on, I think it was WPLO, I think was the call sign. It was going to be either country, a little bit of news, and at night, or in the evenings, it would always be the Braves. The Braves would be playing there, and I still love that today, to be able to get in my car, get in my vehicle, drive down the road and turn the Braves game on. It just brings back so many memories. Actually, the way the Braves are doing right now, it brings back lots of memories of when I was growing up, because when I was growing up, you could go to any Braves game you wanted to and get whatever seats you wanted because they really weren't that great, So it seems like this year they have another rough year, but I can just remember being able to listen to that. There was just something about listening to the ball game with Dad in the truck. And nowadays, me and Colton was, we were going somewhere here a while back, and he said something about, we started their station, there was a Braves. Hey, let's listen to that. And it was kind of cool and kind of neat that here he is doing something that me and my dad used to do. And Sophia, she's the same way. She will sit there. Now, she likes to have her earplugs in, so she can't hear it all as much, but she likes just to ride and to go. Actually, she'd prefer to drive as we go, so that's okay with me, because then I can kick back and I tell herself I'm going to listen to what I want to listen to, but it's just to have fun, just to make those memories. Driving down the road, it's just something that, like I say, I don't even know why it's so powerful. I think it's just time that was spent. Like the time that you spent with your dad, you can never take that away. You'll never get rid of that memory. Another thing we used to do was watch TV. Now, my dad was big onto the PBS. And we'd watch all these documentaries, and especially at night, I remember they used to have the War of the Worlds. What was it? Something, not War of the Worlds. It was some kind of the World at War. That's what it was, World at War. And we would watch all these documentaries and just sit there, and it'd be late. It'd be 11:30 at night, and he'd let me get away with staying up and watching it because it was educational, And so have all these times. Last night, me and my two ended up staying up watching TV for, Lordy, I don't know how long. We watched show after show, just having time together. That was part of my Father's Day present, was being able just to spend time with the children. And I remember also, now my dad worked for Georgia Power, so I guess there's nothing they can do now about it. So he'd actually take me to work with them sometimes. We'd get to go to the barn, now what they called the barn, where they parked all the big bucket trucks and all. And we'd go up there and we would be able to, he'd let me know, be careful and just don't get hurt. I'd climb on every single one of those trucks. Go through there and, and he'd go, sometimes we could be going camping or whatever, and, they could go and they were allowed to get ice out of the machines, and we'd get the ice out of the machines. It was just great to go with. And then as I got older, he ended up driving like a trouble bucket truck, they would call it. He would get a call out late at night or early in the morning, storm come through. Of course, I'd get up, get the phone ring, and he's like, hey, you want to go with me? Sure. So I'll be able to get out, go sit in the cab of the truck while he was out working, but to just be out with my dad on the job. It was a cool and awesome thing, even though I was sitting there watching, him up there working on these poles, working on power lines, and I was sitting in the truck, but it was just nice to be there and to be with him. I remember also some of the things that you don't see nowadays too much. Back off then where we lived, which isn't the same now, the road wasn't crowded. So we could actually drive around. They started as soon as you could start reaching. You'd learn to drive what they call it, 3 on the tree. You'd learn to drive the straight shift. And at 14 years old, even though it might not have been exactly appropriate, he'd let us drive around a little bit. By the time you was 15, you'd been driving so long, you had your learner, so go to the store. He would allow us, because we had learned different things through him, he would allow us to expand. Make sure we had, make sure you get you a good summer job. That way when you're out of school, he would take us, drop us off, come pick us up. When he got off of work, he would always make sure that we were doing something that was going to make us, to help us, and to form us to be better people in the world. Looking at me now, of course, you're thinking, yeah, right. But I got an old driver's license, my first one, when I was 16 to prove it. At 16, I was 120 pounds. That was it. 120 pounds. Nowadays, I got that beat pretty good. But at 120 pounds, I was a small fella. And boys will be boys, and you're going through school, and you do all these different things. And as boys are boys, when trouble would happen, sometimes me being a smaller fella, I might not have fared so well. And Dad would always tell me, well, look, did you stand up? Did you do what was right? Did you stand up and know what you were supposed to do? I'm like, well, yes, sir. You don't back down? No. And then he would fill me on his little secrets. He would say, buddy, he said, if something gets to going bad, and I know people might not agree with this, but he said, if something gets to going bad, he said, look around. You see those sticks and rocks down there? He said, God put those there for the little fella. When the little fella has no other choice, he has to take what God gives you and put it into action. He said, you'd be surprised, you'll come out a lot better if you take what was left there for you to use, and your life will be a lot easier. Well, of course, these are all the lessons that we start to learn and we start to form in our mind. I'll tell you this, I also loved it. Like I said, he worked for the power company, and I respected electricity and all, but there was one thing I learned from him that I love it. Every time it would come a thunderstorm, lightning, so like crazy, he'd go outside. He'd go outside, we had like an old shed or whatever. He'd go out there and stand by the shed and just stand out there, so before long, what was I doing? I'm going right there with him. And still today, I love it when a storm comes up. It's just comforting. It's just soothing. It reminds me of growing up with Dad. One year, we was having some bad storms around. Storm starts coming in, it's blowing around. Kelly jumps up, I'm going to the basement or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm just going to stay here. Probably should have went to the basement, just to be safe. But it was just comforting. You can watch the lightning, and you hear the thunder, To me, it was just soothing. And it was because that was the way my dad had made it for us when we were young. And that's the way it come into my mind. That's what come into my heart. It was something that just soothed us. And I really liked it. Trucks. And my dad always had a truck. Plain and simple. There had to be a truck in the yard. And that's the way, that's the way I like it. Just got to have a truck. Right now I'm without one. Anybody want to donate one? Here I am. But no, a truck. Every guy loves a truck. You just got to have that truck. It's just something about a truck that evidently, in my mind, it's something that my dad had. It must be manly. Got to have this truck. Go through the truck stuff and the manly things and hunting. I tell you what, we used to go hunting all of the time. Now, my dad was temperature insensitive, if that is a correct thing. In the summertime, it would be 100 degrees. Dad has got a hot cup of coffee in his hand. He didn't care the temperature. In the wintertime, it would be down in the 30s or whatever, time to go hunting. We're driving out to the hunting property here at 5 in the morning, and Dad's got the window down. And I'm sitting there thinking, Dad, I'm freezing to death over here, and you got the window down, and we're fixing to go in the woods. It just didn't matter. He's just like the temperature didn't affect him. Find out one day, he finally told me, he said, don't you realize, he said, if you're sitting over there right now with all your, because I want to put my coveralls on. He said, don't you realize you're going to start sweating? You're going to get hot. He said, but when we get there, if you'll just walk out into the woods and sit down after we've been driving with the windows down, you're going to be surprised how warm that it is if you will just get there first before you try to get warm. And these things, all these lessons that he taught, it took a while for them to ever sink in. It took a while for me to realize that everything that he did was for a reason. Everything that he did for me, it just helped me. And sooner or later, it finally started hitting home that it wasn't just making memories. It wasn't just sharing time with each other. But it was all life's lessons that end up making us who we are, getting us to where we are, and keeping our lives where we can maintain them as we should. I don't know what y'all called y'all's dad. You might have called him father. You might have called him daddy or dad or whatever the case may be. We all always called mine, be daddy. That's what we call him. Jesus, in the Bible, Jesus refers to God as my Father 53 times. He also refers to God as our Father, talking with his disciples and the rest of those that he was teaching and preaching to, 21 times. Now I can tell you this. The crazy things that I might do, the trouble that I might get into, the times I might not have minded like I should have, and yeah, them did happen sometimes. The things that I might not have done when I was told, my dad, of course, would have to chastise me at times. But do you know, even through the chastisement, I never doubted that he loved me. I never had a doubt in my mind. He never gave me a reason to doubt that he loved me. Because I knew that he did. No matter what happened, even though I had to get in trouble, even though things happened, he would always do it. And I would know that he cared for me, and that was why he was doing what he did. Our Heavenly Father, our God in heaven, our Abba Father, our Dad, does the same thing with us. You know how many times that we might go out, we might go crazy, we might go astray, we might step out of line, and God has to get onto us. He does it because he loves you. He does it because he doesn't want bad or evil things to happen to you, and he wants you to learn. He wants you to turn back around. The Bible says he loved us so much that he sent his only begotten Son down to give his life for us. The Bible says he loves us so much that he gave his all, and that everything that he does is for our benefit. Everything that he does is to take care of us, to teach us, to help us. We never should doubt God's love. Now there are some people that will go out and say, how in the world can you say God loves us? How can you say that God, when you look around all the shootings or whatever that are taking place, how can you say that there's a loving God when all of these shootings and these mass murderers go on? Where was God during these times? Just where was God when I was suffering, when I was going, or my parents or me or my family was going through a sickness? Where was God? How can you say that God loved us? I can turn right back around and point you to the scripture that said, that we just quoted in John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Do you know where God is? Do you know how much God loves you? God is at the same spot that he was when Jesus was on that cross. He allowed his own Son to die so that we could have fellowship with him. That was the love that he has for us. Now sometimes we're going to go through things. Satan is going to cause hindrances. He's going to cause things to happen. Maybe it's because we're not to where we're supposed to be with God. Maybe it's because someone else is not. But there's going to be things happen. But don't doubt God's love. Don't think God is allowing something to happen to you because he don't love you. Because what's happening to you, imagine how bad it would be if God wasn't there to bring you through it. Imagine how bad it could be if God didn't love you enough to send his protection. If God didn't love you enough to hold your hand while you was going through that fire. Don't think that God don't love you. Don't ever think that God doesn't care. God cares enough to let His Son die for you. That's a father's love. How many fathers out there today, for your children, would be glad to give up your life to protect your children? All of us would. If it was between me or my children, and there had to be a choice, I would gladly lay down my life to spare theirs. But, folks, I would have a hard time to lay down my life to protect somebody else's child. Not saying I wouldn't do it, but I would do it out mine for it. But for somebody I didn't know, but for somebody that's never been in my life, for someone who spit in my eye, for someone who hated me, but God still loved us enough to where it didn't matter. He was still giving His Son. Don't ever think that God doesn't love you. Your Heavenly Father loves you no matter what you've done in the past, no matter what you're going through right now, no matter if you think you've done more than you could ever do to ask forgiveness of. God still loves you. He still cares for you. He is your Father that is looking down saying, just come back to me. I will accept you with open arms. I have never not loved you. Come back. Amen. God loves us so much. A love that only a father could have for their child. Matthew tells us this. Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow nor reap. They store away in the barns. Yet your Heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they are? Thinking about what God has done for you. Think about where God has brought you from. And if you're going through a rough time, take a look around you. You look at especially those crazy squirrels. Y'all ever see those squirrels? They make commercials about them. They're so crazy. They'll run out in the middle of the road and sit there and just dance back and forth. Which way to go? Which way to go? You go driving by, about wrecked, trying to dodge the little crazy squirrel. 99% of the time he gets out of the way anyways, and he's gone, and you're sitting there with your heart beating like crazy, and this little squirrel has about ruined everything for you, you know. God cares enough for that crazy squirrel to let him get out of the road 99% of the time. Or that turtle. How many times have y'all dodged turtles? Every now and then I don't dodge them. Sometimes I forget. Not forget, but you don't see them. But how many times does God take care of us? He's taking care of the animals. He's taking care of the trees. He's taking care of this world. Folks, He's going to take care of you as well. And the cool part about what God does for us, what He does for us is on a permanent basis. When I was 14 years old, my dad brings in this guitar. And he says, here you go, son. Learn how to play this, and it's yours. What do? I sit down, boy, I'd sit there and try to pick me out some songs, try to do something. You know, I get one or two songs down pat. And he's like, yeah, now you're getting it. Then deer season come up, and the next thing you know, we're in the woods hunting, and I forgot about the guitar. So one day I asked him, I'm like, Dad, I know you had told me that this was mine, you know, if I learned how to play it. And he said, well, you know what, I gave it to you. You learned the songs. He said, so eventually you're going to get back to it. Eventually, you know, it's yours. Eventually, you're going to get back to it and you'll pick it up again. He gave it to me, and guess what? I still got it. Because what God gives us, He's not going to go yanking something away if He knows you're going to use it, if He knows you're going to need it. Let's read through here. 1 John. John says, I gave unto them eternal life. They should never perish, neither shall any man pluck you out of their hands. And this is the will of Him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on Him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last days. Man, just imagine that. We get in there, we get saved, we get born again, we get in God's house, and you know what? There's not a thing that the devil, there's not a thing that anybody else can do to take that away from you. Nobody can cause you to lose your salvation. You believe that? According to the Word of God, it says no man can pluck you out of His hand. Now guess what? If I wanted to go run away, of course my dad always told me, you run away all you want to. I'll get you back with a biscuit. That was always his thing. You know, something happened. He says, you run all you want. Come dinner time, you're going to be hungry. And you're going to want this biscuit. All I got to do is sit out here, and I'm going to catch you when you come back. We might can run. We might can hide. Folks, once we've known God, we're going to want to come back.
Amen.
Once we've known the goodness of God, we're going to want to come back. We're not going to want to stay out of His graces. We're not going to want to stay out of His goodness. And we're going to want to come back to get that biscuit.
Right.
We're going to come back to see just what God has got for us. Let's go on to the next. He's strong enough to provide for you. Strong enough to provide for you. My dad, like I say, used to work for Georgia Power. He would go out of town lots of times, especially during hurricane season, during storm season. He had storms or hurricanes would blow in. He might be gone for a week or two at a time. Come to winter, we'd have the ice storms. If y'all remember some of the ice storms back in the 70s, he'd be gone for a couple of weeks at a time. They'd be gone, and then finally you'd miss them. But you'd have to respect that he's gone helping others. He was still my dad the whole time that he was gone. I might not have got to see him, might not have got to spend time with him, but he was still my dad. At the moment, he was out helping somebody else. Didn't mean he wasn't my dad. Didn't mean he still wasn't taking care of me. It didn't mean he still wasn't, providing for his family. But what it meant was at the moment, I didn't get to see him. At the moment, we didn't get to gather around a dinner table. Sometimes you go through these spots in life where you think, Daddy, where are you at? God, where are you at? Man, I'm going through this situation. Lord, I miss you. It's like I can't feel you right now. It's like I can't see you right now. But God, I know you're still there. God, I know right now, God, I'm going through this dry time. But Lord, I sure would love to get back a hold. I sure would love that just to wrap my arms around you and to be able to hold you and to hug you and pull you close. When Dad would get home from those trips, we'd always have a big dinner, we'd have a good time. Everybody get back, it was such a great to have a reunion. When God does this, sometimes we go through dry spells. And it's not that God can't be everywhere helping all things, which He is. But sometimes we walk through storms. Sometimes we go through the icy spots in our life. Sometimes we go through the hurricanes. We go through the storms in life to where we might not be able to feel God's presence. But it doesn't mean He's not there. It doesn't mean He's still not providing for you. It doesn't mean He's still not keeping you safe. He is still there the same, working for you then, just as He is when you feel like He's bouncing you on His knee. God is still there no matter what you're going through. He is your Father. It says this right here in Romans. For you did not receive a spirit that makes you a slave again to fear, but you received the spirit of sonship. And by Him we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit Himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children. Matthew says this, if the son asks for bread, will He give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will He give him a snake? If you then, though that we are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those that ask of Him? God is there for you in every aspect of your life, in every walk that you're going through the times that you can see Him and through the times that you can't. He's the Father that's always providing. Joshua tells us that He's also the Father there to protect. There shall not any man be able to stand there for thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with thee. I shall not fail thee, nor forsake thee. You never felt safer, did you, than when Dad was on guard? At night you could go to bed knowing, hey, Dad's up, Dad's here. Don't have to worry about somebody breaking in. Don't have to worry about somebody coming in to give. You don't have to worry about anything, that's going on, because Dad is here protecting. Dad's here. I feel safe. Somebody comes up, hey, Dad's right there. I remember about the time, you start getting 15, 16, he'd say, okay, it's time for you to start going out and let's go get some new tires on the vehicle. Let's go get some, new tires on the truck. So we drive up there and he's like, okay, get out there and you do it. Man, talking about the tough lessons. I'm supposed to go as a 15-year-old boy now and go up to this company here and try to get, but you felt small. You felt like, what if I do it wrong? What if I'm not doing it right? What if they take me, But the whole time I would know, well, Dad's right there. I got Dad right behind me. So if I go up here to buy these tires and these guys try to do me wrong, well, Dad's going to be right there. He's going to step up to the plate. He's going to make sure that I don't get done wrong. I don't get done dirty. These guys don't take advantage of me. That's what Dad does. He trains us, you know. He helps us. He shows us, yeah, I've got your back. Man, God does the same thing with us. He said every time that we go through something, he's like, hey, I'm right here. But you got to go on your own. You're never going to grow up if we don't cut those apron strings, cut those ties and let you go. And he lets us step out. But he also gives us the confidence that he is right there with us. We can call upon Dad if things start to get rough. We can call it out his name, help! Hey, I need your help. And there he is. He will come a-running. We don't have to worry about the wiles of the devil. Joshua said, hey, he says, I got this. I'm going to be with, or God tells Joshua, I'm going to be with you just like I was with Moses. Nothing is going to be able to come up against you. Nothing is going to be able to overcome you. You are going to be you're going to be just as safe because I'm here with you. He's engaged enough to teach you and to play with you, I put. To teach us. Love fishing. I hadn't done it in a lot of years, but I love fishing. My mom's been telling me that everybody's been coming over to the ponds and catching a lot of fish. The other day I was over to her house and she told me, she said, you know, she's talking about wanting me to trim around the little banks of it. She's like, I want you to get this area. So I decided I was going to walk around the pond just to look and see the shape it was in. So as I'm walking out the door in the basement, I see a fishing pole. So I've got the fishing pole and I start walking out there. And I'm walking, fishing, as I'm going around this pond. This is not a very big pond, but before I get around this thing, even a half of a lap, I've already caught 5 fish. 5 bass, just tearing it up. You know, it's just that time of the year, I guess. And so I'm catching these things and just letting them go, catching them, letting them go. And I'm walking around the whole time. And it just brought me back to me and my childhood. I can remember as a kid, you know, fishing all around those ponds. Dad always teach me. Dad would always have a boat. He'd teach me about the boat. He would teach me about all the fishing, the lures. He'd teach me about everything. And if you guys know some of the fancy reels that they end up making a big mess. They call it like open face or cat bait casters. And they would just make a huge mess. And when I was young, first learning, he'd be like, okay, you know, let me see it. And he'd get the mess out, you know. And as we got older, it was, okay, you got to get this one out yourself, you know. You made it. Time for you to learn how to get out of it, you know. Still teaching us different things. Teaching us how to make it. But as the ways that we go through it. So he would teach us about fishing. God tells us this. He goes, come with me. Follow me. I'm going to make you fishers of men. And you know what God would do with me? At first, you know, we're scared to death. It's a new thing. And we go out there and we start fishing. And we get all nervous and we're scared. But before long, God has done taught us enough to where we just walk up to somebody and just start witnessing. We just walk up and start telling them. Just walk up, start inviting them to church. Because God has taught us everything that we need to know about Him to be able to go out and do the job that He is calling us to do. To become that fishers of men. And our Father says He's right there with us. He's the one leading the boat. I put play with you because I got to thinking about something. We'll come to an end here. My dad used to help us out. Sometimes my dad would coach the baseball team. And he would always help out, you know, when he could and when he wasn't at work. And one year he didn't get to coach because something was going on at work. But we got out there and we got to playing baseball. And that's something we always did as kids anyways. But I played against a team, and there's back out then there's only so many schools in the county you play for the county. And I played against one of my friends, and he was pitching. His name was Mark Hanna. I never will forget it. First pitcher that I ever met that I had to face that could throw a curveball. And man, it was a mean curveball. So I get up there to bat, and I was always, I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I was always a pretty good ball player. Always made the All-Stars. Well, this game I get up there, and first time, struck out. Second time, struck out. Third time, struck out. Man, I'm feeling like the pits, as low as I could go. I come up there and I'm on deck. I'm sitting there waiting, getting up there, trying to psych myself up. All right, this time I'm going to hit that ball. This time I'm going to get on base. This time I'm going to do it. And I notice the person that keeps the scorebooks walks over to the coach on the other side, and I see him pointing at me. And I'm like, what are they pointing at? Well, next thing I know, the catcher stands up behind the plate and does this. And they walk the guy in front of me so they can get to me to pitch to me. And the whole time I'm thinking, great. They know I'm so bad right now that they want to just face me. They don't even want to face this guy. It took 3 whole pitches. And I walked back to the dugout, head hung low. 0 for 4. 0 for 4. I get home that day and my dad's asking, well, how'd the game go? I don't even want to talk about it. It was terrible. Well, what happened? This guy could throw a curveball. I couldn't hit it. Because that was so embarrassing because they even walked a guy to get to me so that they could get the third out. I was the sure thing. I was the out that was just waiting to happen. So he said, well, I guess we got to work on something, don't we? We got to work on this because we always played every team twice. So Dad gets a baseball, and he gets a drill, and he drills through the baseball, and he puts a rope on it. Now, they didn't have this. You can go buy this stuff now. They didn't have this when we was kids. And he puts a rope on it and ties it in a knot, and he comes up with a way where he can throw it around, and he'll do something like this. And as the ball was coming in, of course, it's curving the way I would stand. It would curve and drop and curve and drop. And we practiced and we practiced and we practiced. Now, it wasn't just me that was out there, right? Because somebody had to do the rope. Dad took his time to not only make me a contraption I could practice, but he took the time to go out there with me to make sure that it could be done right. The next time we come up to face this team, we get up there, 5 for 5. I was able to get on base every time, even had a triple in the game. Why? Because Dad had taken the time to help me out to overcome what I was going through. See, Dad didn't just let me get up there and get embarrassed in. Dad didn't just let me get up there and go through things that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to make it through. He made sure that he supplied me. He made sure that he gave me what I needed to overcome. Hebrews says this, let us therefore become boldly into the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in our time of need. You know what? You might be going through something in your life if they come to the instruments. You might be going through something in your life, a time where you're walking through things. You're in this needy time. There's just no way around it. Everything that's going on in your life, it seems to not be working right. It's falling apart. Or maybe it's just not working the way it should. Maybe your batting percentage has gotten low. Maybe you're, how shall we say in a spiritual sense, run away from home. Maybe you're just not where you're supposed to be. Maybe your relationship with your Heavenly Father is not where it's supposed to be. But God is telling us, folks, if we will call out to Him, just call out, Abba, Father, He's going to bring us back. He's going to be there for us. He's going to take what we need. He's going to show us what we need. And He's going to help us through every situation. He's going to bless us. He's going to protect us. He's going to provide for us. He's going to be everything that we need in every time that we need it. In the book of Genesis, the Bible says that God made man, formed him out of sand, and then He breathed life into his nostrils and breathed life in, and man came to life. There he goes. Now we're up, we're going. Now there are some things in life that can just knock the breath out of you. There are some things that can hit you, and it can hit you hard, and it can put you in a spot to where you just feel like you can't breathe. But never forget who gave you that breath. It was your Heavenly Father. So even though Satan might hit, knock, even though he might punch you really hard, remember that God's there for you. Remember that your Heavenly Father is there to help you through the situations. Revelation says, or Jesus says in Revelations, I'm Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. The first breath that you take, God was there with you. Guess what? The last breath that you take, He'll be there with you also. Now, I've shared with you some memories, just memories and things that meant something in my life. 15 years ago, man, it's been a long time. You know, there's not a day that goes by that I don't wish I could pick up a phone and call him and say, hey, Dad. You know, forever, I don't know, I mean, it was probably 10 years. I'd call Mom and I'd say, how are y'all doing over there? You know, it was a habit. Mom and Dad. How are y'all doing? There's not a season like right now when I was walking around their house, catching these fish, man, Dad was on every thought. It was like, how I wish just one more time I could go fishing with Dad. He'd always invite, you know, hey, I'm going to go to the lake, I'm going to go fishing, you want to come? And I would sit there and sometimes I would go, but sometimes an excuse would happen, or sometimes, you know, and man, I look back now and I wish I had never made an excuse. I wish I'd have took him up on every offer, you know, or something tears up in the house. Man, if I could just call Dad and, you know, and ask him how to do this. Too many times, you know, we either take our dad or you know, take him for granted. We make an excuse why not to spend time with him. We make an excuse of why we can't do something, and here's Dad just wanting to be there for us, you know. Folks, don't make that excuse with God. If God's asking you, if God's calling you to do something, don't put Him off. Don't make an excuse. If He's talking to you, talking to your heart, saying, you know what? You kind of been like that prodigal son. You kind of been like that. I want to use you. I want to talk to you. I want to help you. I told you I'm never going to forsake you, but now you're the one that's wandered off. Maybe if you could smell heaven's kitchen right now, so to speak, and God's cooking those biscuits, waiting for you to come back. Don't put God off. Because when you stand before the judgment throne, you don't want to say, but God, I wish I would have spent more time with you. You know what God's going to say? I wish you would have too. Don't let yourself be in that position. On Father's Day, make sure you're giving everything you've got to your Heavenly Father. Stand to your feet.